I couldn't stop. Now a quest for perfect tone, for the greatest sound I've ever known. It's sound over the specs you see, an accidental audiophile, that's me!
Hello everybody, so I'm really excited today to go over the unboxing of the PS Audio StellarGold Preamp. So this is something that was not in the cards, but I figured since I already got the EverSolo A8, I got the M700 mono amps, the Shanling CD Transport ET3, the McIntosh MHA200, and the Theva speakers, floor sounding speakers. I decided, you know what, life is short, let's do this now, let's purchase this. So buying the preamp was not something that I considered, and to be quite honest, going through this journey as an accidental audiophile, please like and subscribe. When I went initially, it was really just to get the Theva speakers, the Rega amp, the MK5 I believe, or the 7, I apologize, to pair with my planner. And then they introduced me to the A6, and then one thing led to the other, and then watching Paul McGowan's videos and all the great YouTubers out there that kind of educated me a little bit in the process. And I will talk about how I use Claude AI, Gemini AI, ChatGPT to educate myself on if I need a preamp and all these things. So, but that's going to be a video for another time. So the first thing that I got here was from Amazon, because I'm hoping this is exactly what I think it is. Yep. And this, so this is the Mogami XLRs. So I have these so I can connect the amplifier to my system. It's one cable I was missing, which you think you always have enough cables. Apparently you do not. So again, I'm just going to open her right now. Now, I was going to get the black, but there was going to be several weeks to get it, and I decided to get the silver. If I could go back, I would probably got the silver for the rest of the gear, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, and they were able to ship this to me from Audio Excellence Canada. I'd like to thank the staff there for accommodating me with questions online, and specifically to get this to me before my trip at the end of the week. So I'm just going to unbox this. Alrighty. Nope. Cable box in there. Let's see what it says here. Bring it to life. PS Audio. So the good folks at the PS Audio, made in the United States, from our friends here in Canada. Yes, we're still friends. Let the politics be politics. This is really exciting. To unbox this a little bit better than I did the M700s. So hopefully this all works fine. I'm assuming here it's recording. Let me double check here. Yeah, we're good to go. Alright, so over here. Alright, so kind of excited. I have the catalog, the 2024. Where's the 25, 26? Alright, so we know when this was basically packed. We have the quick start guide. Put this over here. What do we have here? I'm assuming here it's the remote. Oh, very nice. And batteries included. How about that? How about that ching ding? Actually, I have to say the remote feels pretty good. It looks somewhat aluminum and plastic, so I'll definitely give this a good whirl. And over here, we'll put this away. And let's kind of take this out. Move them over. Comes with a standard cabling. So we're just going to put this here. Alrighty. So this is the first time I'm seeing the silver in color, and I have to say, she does look very sweet. So let me just kind of raise this up a little bit here so we can see each other a little bit better. Alright, hopefully you guys can see me a little bit better here. But basically here is the StellarGold Preamp. I'll give a better zoom in and zoom out once I hook it in. So give me a second, guys. I'll hook it into the system and do another video. So I've unpacked the PS Audio StellarGold Preamp. It looks fantastic in this color. It's going to be a bit of a mix match with my M700s. Now it looks a bit of a mess here, just bear with me. I did order NorStone module bases and module ones so I could do some stacking with the racks. So I ordered them from Art and Sound. They should be arriving this week. Ideally I wanted to put it underneath here with the EverSolo A8, but it's just too long. Sorry, the width is too much. I tried putting it underneath the Acoustic Zazen 1, just temporary, but it's too short. So the Zazen and the Planar 3 basically hang, which is not good. So for now, most likely I'm just going to put it on top here, even though in the manual they do not recommend it at all, and I totally appreciate that. But I have to do what I need to do until I get the rest of it, and the work afterwards will be to clean up the cable mess underneath. So that's a job that I need to do. I'll show you now back to the StellarGold. By the way, this looks stunning in silver. It looks great in black. I'm curious to see what the real PMG signature edition looks like. But that's what money above and beyond what I could do. At that point, I would need to upgrade the Theva speakers, because this is these components are becoming more expensive than the Theva. Alright, so I'll pause here and I'll show you the back. So one of the reasons I got the StellarGold, besides it's going to pair very nice synergy-wise with the M700s, is basically here I have the right and left XLR balanced outputs that will feed the M700s. I have my trigger outs. I'm not sure the PS Link, I believe those are to go with other products from PS Audio. There's a USB slot here, I'll have to read up on top. But then over here you can see I have RCA1, RCA2 with XLR inputs. So the goal here is to put the different components, the Stellar and the Planar 3 here. So I'll see how this all matches, so I will show you in a few moments how this is going to be hooked up properly, and we'll continue. Alrighty, so let's walk through this here today. So I did some work here. So during the unboxing, oh look who's here, Lucky the dog. So of course he's in the video shop, of course he is. He wants to say hi. Hello, Lucky. Okay, we're doing a video, Happy, okay? Okay, give it a second. So as you can see here, I've done some work. I came back from Art and Sound, where I picked the NorStone module base, 2 of them in fact. As you can see here, I have one at the bottom for the M700 mono to the right, and one for the mono M700 to the left. Actually, right to the left, my right, your left. For now, I put the CD Transport ET3 Shanling on top of it with the MHA200 McIntosh headphone app, because I do need to get another module. I thought this would be good enough, but I do definitely need to split them up, although I am concerned about the height of the cage of the MHA200. And then over here, this is the reason we have the video today, is the PS Audio StellarGold amp is here. It's all powered up, and you can see here in the middle I got the EverSolo A8. You can see it's all set up here, and I have the PSU Rega and its mono FM. There's the dog again, and as you can see, I'm using ISO acoustic to keep everything nice and level. In fact, I don't know if you can see it here, but underneath here on the NorStone, but I'm not sure you'll be able to see it, but basically underneath here I put the ISO acoustics as well on underneath the devices. Now you can see here I have the StellarGold app. And you can see here, sorry guys, all powered up and so forth. So the way she's working right now is that the EverSolo 8 is, so let me go back. The Focal speakers are hitting the M700s, so into the M700s, and then from the M700s into the StellarGold XLR1. Then I have the Phono, the Rega Planar 3, going into RCA Analog 2. Now the CD transport, the Shanling, is still going as a USB connected to the EverSolo, and the EverSolo is connected to the StellarGold. So I'll go over those details a little bit later on and so forth. But what I would have to say, the quality of the box is really nice. The volume control is actually much better than the EverSolo, which kind of surprised me because this was a good one. But I could tell you one thing right away. So when I start playing songs, the biggest thing that I noticed from the volume control is basically that this is much more precise. And the other key thing here is that my first listening, and let's see if we get some listening here. So I'm just going to play here. I have the Michael Jackson one here. Let me just kind of start her off. So the biggest thing right now that's happening right now is that the Soundstage is much bigger than it was before. So here's the remote control. So it's actually pretty good. Let me just kind of lower the voice. Let me see here. I'm just going to mute it because I don't want to get a 3-strike, whatever the case. Now the control is very nice. I wish it was a little bit more premium. It's a little bit plasticky, a little bit big, because here it's to control all the different PS Audio devices, which is great if you have the power plant, the Phono, and so forth and so forth. But it's not bad. It's doing the job. Now, in comparison to the EverSolo, which is a little bit more modern, sleek, whatever the case might be, one thing I do appreciate from this guy here is that when I do want to go up and down, it's very responsive. It goes very fast, which is great. But like I said, it's just the small little details and so forth. And then as far as switching the inputs and outputs, it's all here through the remote control. But again, the first impression of the PS StellarGold, it's my first time having a dedicated preamp, is the Soundstage. When I really crank this up to higher decibel levels, so basically right now you can see here, I'm playing this guy here now at 20. So even at 45, it is really booming in here. I could tell that the Thiva's bass is much more stronger. There's more clarity into the cymbals, the high notes. It's really incredible, the difference, but you have to be here to really appreciate it. All right, that's the review for now. I'll get you a bigger review a little bit later on. Thank you. Hey folks, I just wanted to go over and just kind of show you how I connected the PS StellarGold audio to my system. So I'm just gonna flip the screen right now. So just gonna go over here. So over here, what you will see is I use Claude AI to come up with the wiring for the system, and I use Google Gemini and Nano Banana 2 to do this display. So what you're seeing here is basically let me just kind of close this off. So on top here you have the EverSolo A8. That's my DAC streamer, but it's also it's used for my Shanling CD3, but I don't have it here because I really want to focus on the connectivity of the M700s. So I'm using XLR balanced Mogami 2534s into the StellarGold, one left to the right. And then I'm using the same Mogami XLR balances into the left and right inputs of the M700 PS Audio mono amps, and then I'm using Audio Request Rocket 11 cables to connect to my Thiva number 2s. So basically from this side I'm using just basically the same type of components. Now I'm not showing the back of my system right now because I took, I think, longer cables than I really needed, because prior to that I had the equipment in a different part of my listening room. But ideally I wish I had like maybe a 2-footer or 3-footer XLR cable, but we make do with what we have. So right now I'm just going to flip over here to Claude, and basically what I did here is just kind of show you guys the signal flows, the A8 XLR balance. This is basically an ASCII representation, and you can see here every handoff and the chain is fully balanced. One thing I'm going to ask AI is what happened to my ET3 CD transport and McIntosh MHA200, and as well Rega Planar 3 to the signal chain. So sometimes I find, like, from an AI standpoint, even though I give it a lot of information, and I'm going to walk through this one day, I do created basically artifacts and projects for it to know exactly everything that I have. While it's thinking here, one thing I will show you guys here is that if I go back here, I download basically all the manuals for my system into a folder over here. So these are all my different focals, my Hibbies, the PS Audio StellarGold. So basically if I double click this guy here, so all this here gets downloaded. I download it either directly from the manufacturer website, or I find it through the internet, although you have to be careful because sometimes you might download a protected PDF. So it should know exactly everything within the manual, including the internet. So over here, basically what you're seeing here is the Shanling ET3 regular. Nothing has changed. Both of these feeds into the EverSolo. So basically here, it's just confirming what I said before. So the Shanling ET3, I'm using USB primary, or I can use a coaxial, but I'm using the USB into the DMP8 DAC. Now part of that is because the PS StellarGold Preamp is purely analog, which is intentional. That's how I wanted it. Now over here it's telling me that the Planar 3 ND5 is going to the EverSolo. And then over here you can see the McIntosh should go through XLR out into the into my M700s. But that is not correct. That is output into the, I'm not sure why it's telling me that. Option B EverSolo RCA out. So again, so it's giving me incorrect information here. So basically I'm going to tell it here. Let me just go back up here, as it's not giving me the right chain. I want the Rega Planar 3 to connect directly to my PS Audio StellarGold Preamp, as well as the McIntosh MHA200. So I'll have to go back and recheck the configuration to see why it's forgetting these things, because usually Claude is pretty good at remembering our conversations, but I'll need to go back because maybe it's you see where it says compact into conversation. That means I've had a way too long conversation. So sometimes with AI, if your conversations are way too long, it starts hallucinating or forgetting things. So right now what it's doing is just basically compacting the chat, whatever the case might be, it's doing in the background. I apologize, I use that whatever it could be. That sounds like something I would not typically say, but I guess this is just being a little bit honest here on the video of what's going on. So 75%, it's almost done. It's kind of going through the paces right now. And basically what happens at this point is that it's just to confirm the connectivity to the system. So if I go back into Gemini, what we should be seeing here is the connectivity with the Rega Planar 3, the CD transport, and the MHA200, because it's not here. And that's on purpose, because when I did paste the information here, So basically here I pasted this ASCII format, and I asked Google Gemini Nano Banana 2 to create this for me. So let me go back here. All right, so over here, thinking about connecting Planner 3, searching. So you can see here, what it's doing here, it's actually finding the documents I mentioned before, the PDFs, which I have in the project file in Claude. It's going through all the manuals, so it's basically validating all those inputs. So you can see here it's architecting optimal audio. Bill wants to connect the Rega Planar 3, so you can see it's thinking, it's logic, it's going through all the PDFs. That's exactly what I wanted to do, because it should be able to determine based on all the manual settings. And you can see here the StellarGold manual is in the project knowledge. I need to pull that from the StellarGold rear panel. So I have to see why it's there, because I'm pretty sure I did upload the file into the planner, but it's telling us here. Oh, okay, here we go. All right, so it's done. And let's go back here. Let me close the thinking. All right, critical point. Great gold, Bill, and this is actually the upgrade that completes the StellarGold. Critical point first, the Phono MK5 must stay. The Planar 3 cartridge output is raw Phono level signal. That's roughly 3 volts input. The Rega Phono MK5 must remain in the chain to amplify. That's correct. There's no Phono stage in StellarGold. So here you can see it's Rega 3 with the ND5 stylus going to the Phono MK5 and then going into the StellarGold. And you can see here it's saying this is the new direct connection. Here's the full picture of what you're building. So here, the vinyl source, you can see here it's using the XLR RCAs to go out to the different components. And let me just make a copy of this, and I'll show you why I'm making a copy of this. Over here, what this gives you is Synergy Gold. So you can see you have the Phono, Rega Phono going to the Stellar RCA, correct? It says status need to purchase. I gotta check this out because it should know I have all those cables. StellarGold, and then here the RCA repair, which is good. Whether this means operational, one StellarGold volume knob controls everything. So that's the whole point. I want the preamp to be my volume control. Cables that you need, 2 short cables, whatever the case might be. I'm just going to say double check the inventory file as I have all these cables. Thanks. So I am being polite. I'm just going to give that command, but I'm going to go back to Gemini. The reason why I'm going to Gemini, and Gemini here, I will start here, not a temporary chat, I'll start a new chat. And here I will pick a Nano Banana. So create an image, and I'm just going to say create a infographic of the following. And I'm just going to paste the information that we got before. So like I said, I will take time, because I'm off to Argentina a couple of days, to do a video of how to build your own AI consultant using Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini. I use different tools for different purposes. So as you can see here, it's created me here high fidelity vinyl source signal flow. A vinyl source, you can see the Rega, the Neo, the ND5 going to the Phono stage, which is using RCA line level going into the input of the PS StellarGold. And then from the gold, I'm going here, the preamplifier XLR out into the monoblocks, into the Thivas, and RCA into the headphone amplifiers, and then into my headphones. So here, it's kind of weird. It's like Gemini remembers the headphones I do have, which is great. Now, sometimes these are very nice infographics to share, but here I'm going to say use realistic photo images of the products. So I'm just going to see here if Gemini is going to be able to pull that out. Typically it does, but I'm doing this kind of live at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. But I'll cover all these aspects later on when we do the full inventory. And over here, you can see here, it's just checking the inventory. I'll take a look at this afterwards, but I'm going to go here. So it did it do what I wanted to do? Let's see here. Is it closer? Yeah, I put the PS logo in here. It did everything here. You can see the McIntosh. It's the wrong amplifier. It's getting it a bit closer. So I'm just going to try one more thing. So I'm just going to create new chat. I'm just going back to Banana. I'm going to say create a realistic photo of the following. So I'm just going to paste that. I'm just curious what it's going to do. So one thing about AI is that it's never going to give you the same results, which is the biggest pain right now, because sometimes you'll find, oh, that's just perfect. Can I have that repeated over and over again? And that becomes really hard to do. But just to kind of finalize, so let's see here what it did. So yeah, it's a different one. It's the same concept, just different way to kind of do it. But like I said, yeah, I'll have to play around with it to do a little bit better on that point. But let me just go and close that. Let me go here. All right, so basically at the end of the day, what I will say is that the PS StellarGold Preamp was a last minute purchase to complete my system, other than the subwoofer, which will wait for that one, to be quite honest. So just to conclude, I'm very happy with the purchase of the PS Audio StellarGold Preamp. Like I said, it's my first preamp I ever bought that's separate versus integrated. I want to thank people in the forums and the different channels I've seen on YouTube help me make these decisions. I do want to also do a shout out to Audio Excellence Canada. That's the first time I've dealt with them. They're a great brand as far as selling high-end audio equipment. They have an amazing YouTube channel that really explains a lot of the products that they do sell. So I do encourage people to take a look at that. I'll put the comments, I'll put links in afterwards. And like I said, I will get back to you guys on some other items I do want to speak about, and that's more specifically at the Poly that I just recently bought, and I will review that once I start playing around with it. Now I'm off shortly, so it's quite possible I might do a video next week from Argentina or when I get back, because it does take effort to do these videos. I'm getting a little bit better at it, but it's still a lot of work in progress. And again, I do appreciate everybody taking a look. Please leave your comments, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Just a simple needle drop, a rabbit hole I couldn't stop. Now a quest for perfect tone, for the greatest sound I've ever known. It's sound over the specs you see, an accidental audiophile, that's me.